you know what, David? There are some stages, there are some sections, there are some features that the minute they appear in the World Rally Championship, you know they're going to become iconic. I reckon this is one of them. Guanajuato Street Stage, of course.
Yep.
Of course. Where are we here?
We are in Japan, and I've forgotten the name of the tunnel.
I knew you would. Isegami's Tunnel.
Isegami's Tunnel.
Wow, that is really quite something, isn't it?
First stage tomorrow morning, SS2. What are we, about 10k in?
Oh no, we're a bit further than that into the stage. We're quite well into the stage. It is the opening stage of the morning, folks. Oh, hello, by the way, Dirtfish Rally friends. I haven't said hello to you today at all, have I? Don't forget, by the way, folks, that we are partnering?
We're partnering.
Partnering, is that actually a mental word? Partnering this weekend. That's quite difficult for me to say. With Gino WRC Invest. Have a look on their website. The link is above David's head there. Press the button, have a look. Some wonderful stuff that you can enjoy within that website. David, obviously, as I say, you know, this is really quite something to behold. It's going to be a proper test for our drivers tomorrow morning for many reasons.
I mean, ultimately, it's actually not a test at all because it's a dead straight bit of road. But quite odd, just as you go into the tunnel, you go onto gravel, which, I mean, again, it's not really going to upset the cars at all. But it's quite a feature, isn't it? It's probably 300 or 400 metres.
So the challenge of this tunnel is the dust within the tunnel. There'll be dust there. Will it become a little bit difficult in terms of picking, in particular, the braking part? Honestly, it is going to be quite challenging. I genuinely think it is. And if nothing else, it is going to look absolutely spectacular.
It is, and it is a very, very famous tunnel, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
So legend goes, it is haunted. We don't know, our Japanese friend couldn't tell us who it was haunted by or why it was haunted, but apparently lots of locals do come just have a look at a haunted tunnel.
They do, and lots of locals might come to just have a look at you and I standing here, David.
Yep.
Folks, we are back in Japan, as you can tell. It is so exciting. We are so happy to be back. You know, the stages themselves are really, really exciting to see. Yeah. But for me, it's the atmosphere, David. It's the fans. We got a real flavour of that this morning, didn't we? When they opened up the service park. I haven't seen anything like it.
We've waxed lyrical, haven't we, about the fans who come with the model rally cars on their heads, and we've missed it. For 12 years, we haven't been here. And this morning, I can't remember, we did a time lapse, so you can have a look on Dirtfish, at Dirtfish Rally. Look on our socials. We'll put the time lapse on. There must have been
a kilometre of people queuing.
I mean, but thousands of people just waiting to get in. And as you would expect, being in Japan, absolutely all stood perfectly in line, and nobody grumbling.
No,
absolutely nobody grumbling, just waiting, and then coming in. And it was an incredible, like you say, as soon as they opened the gates and they came into the service park, it just transformed the place.
It really did. Lots and lots of colour to look forward to around the stages this weekend. But what do we have to look forward to in terms of the stages? Well, do you know what? Very difficult to compare them to anywhere else. We were told yesterday by some of the drivers, can't remember who it was, one or two of them mentioned it, 30 to 40% more notes than the Rally de 10 000 Virage, Corsica. That is incredible. That gives you an indication.
I mean, could you ever imagine talking about a rally and saying it's Corsica, but with a few more corners?
30 to 40% more corners.
Yeah, but Cole, just, you know, we've driven however many kilometres here, we've driven a couple of other stages, and we were talking about, will they use the hybrid? For me, the first 5 or 6k of this one, before you get to that square corner and go onto the slightly wider road, you can't, because all you're going to get, you know, we were pretty much in second and third gear in a fabulous Toyota GR Yaris.
It's a special car.
It's a very, very special car. I've got to say a big thank you to Toyota for loaning us the car this week. But we were never out of sort of second, really out of second gear. So you're not, I don't think they're going to be using much hybrid there. And, you know, you can see, perhaps not see so much here because it's quite gravelly here, but the roads are green in places. You know, they're just not used and really quite overgrown, really heavily underneath the trees.
But it is going to be a real challenge out there for our drivers. Yeah. Making notes, really, really, really important. Making good notes. Precision with your driving, David, because we've seen just how narrow, and I don't think I've seen roads quite as narrow as this in a long, long time. These new World Rally cars, or Rally 1 cars, are massively wide.
There's places where they will be touching the bushes on both sides. It's not universally narrow. You know, there are some link roads in all of the stages which are quite wide, not quite double width sort of Catalunya spec, but definitely the car will breathe a little bit more. You can move the car around a bit more. But in almost all of the stages, you've got these drainage ditches. Which
down the side, I mean, really, those
you can't drop a wheel. I mean, you simply can't. But I bet if you put a GoPro on some of these in some of the tighter corners, you'll get them with half a tyre.
I think
you know
right.
That's how accurate the driving is going to be.
I was asking as we were coming through, how close will they get to these ditches? They'll be, as you say, partly over them.
Yeah, they will.
They'll be 100%. That accurate.
But you've got that on one side, and then on the other side, you've got either quite a big curb, or you've got a drop off into the trees, and they are big, big drop offs. We've come over the top of a pretty big hill here, and one of the other really interesting features of this stage is a steep downhill into hairpin, into hairpin, into hairpin. So you're going to really be working the brakes hard, working the tyres hard.
Here's the other challenge. Here is the other challenge. There's again an imbalance on this rally in terms of the kilometres and how we effectively run each day. So the first day, 132 kilometres, 66 kilometres.
Stages, aren't they? In the loop?
But it's a lot. It's a big chunk of the rally in that first loop. Now, as we know with long haul events, you're not allowed to test. Therefore, setting the car up, you're going to have to use a fair bit of guesswork to set the car up. If you don't get it right for that first loop of stages, you could be out the event by lunchtime on Friday.
It's difficult, Cole, because you will need quite a soft car in here just to pick up some traction. But then when you come into those slightly quicker sections, when you're into fourth and fifth gear, if it's dry, you're really going to feel the car moving, and you don't want that. You want that stiffer setup to give you the precision of the car. So it's a real compromise. It's a compromise in terms of grip and handling, but also in terms of knowledge. Like you say, people just have no idea.
No idea. So it really is going to be interesting. Have a good look at what happens first thing. The first loop of stages, basically stage 2, 3 and 4.
Forget that. Just look at stage 2.
Have a look at stage 2, yeah.
It's going to be mad.
That's this one. David, as we were coming through the stage, I was talking about the condition of the road, potential for pollution, potential for maybe cleaning. What's your thought on that?
I can't really see it cleaning a lot, Cole, because as we said, it's quite green. For me, you hear a lot in Formula One about a circuit that's rarely used is green. It's nothing like the green that we've got. This is a proper sport where you have proper green roads. But in Formula One, you need that rubbering in as well, that process through free practice, blah, blah, blah. We'll get that here, I'm sure. As long as it stays dry, the second loop, the second run of the stage should be quicker because there will be a lot of rubber put down. I can't really see. There's sections, some places there was some dust, some mud hanging around out of some of the quite tight junctions that we've seen today. If it stays dry, that could be quite dusty, could be quite muddy. For me, I'd be very surprised. The only thing they're going to clean, Calais, is going to be leaves off the road, isn't it? Sorry.
No, I was going to say, which shouldn't be an issue because it should be dry.
But Sunday is when the weather's coming.
Sunday could be really interesting. You look at the opening loop of stages and yes, it's dry, it's been dry for a while. It's clearly been quite a dry summer here because you can tell if you have a look around the stadium, the service park, it's baked, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you can tell these roads with a little bit of moisture on them could become treacherous, and that is the fear for Sunday. It's a long loop on Sunday. It really is 70
It's a proper day,
kilometres.
79k, yeah.
Well, as we mentioned at the top of this preview, we are absolutely delighted to be joined this weekend in our coverage of Rally Japan by Gino WRC Invest. Gino WRC Invest, the only place to buy a world rally car. Run by enthusiasts like Alessandro Gino and Andrea Adamo. Do you know what I like, David? Driver's title clearly decided, manufacturer's title decided. It's a free-for-all.
WRC2 not decided.
Not decided, but in terms of our top cars, it is a free-for-all.
Oh, completely. Absolutely. There is no question. No team orders, just first to the finish. Crack on.
First to the finish, yeah. And there are drivers who could really do with a good result this weekend. There are drivers who want to prove something this weekend. There are drivers who perhaps just want to go out and enjoy themselves this weekend, which might be the difference.
Who's the one? Who is your driver that really needs this win?
Evans. Yeah, Evans for me. Elfyn Evans has had a mare of a season compared to the last 2 years. And he has. Compared to the last 2 years. Compared to the last 2 years.
Of course, because he's finished second in the championship and he's run Ogier close. I was going to say, he's finished second 4 times. No, he needs a win.
He needs a win here. He really does need a win here. And he's got every chance of taking the win here. M Sport could do with a great result. You know, we hear so much about how good that chassis is. What you need on these tight, twisty roads is a great chassis, David.
Which we've got in the Toyota GR Yaris.
It's not good enough, I tell you. It's great, it is great, but not good enough when he's driving.
No.
Craig Breen, quick and shakedown. You know, if he can put the woes of this year, the worries of this year behind him.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You know, Elvin is the obvious one, but equally Craig Breen is a similarly obvious one. He absolutely needs a result as well. You know, M Sport need a result. Yes, they do, but you kind of go back and say, well, actually, Monte Carlo was at least they've had something from this year.
Yeah, but you know who I'm really looking forward to seeing this weekend? Really looking forward.
Who?
The Warrior.
Toshi Arai.
Yes, of course.
We saw Toshi Arai in the service box.
The legend, wonderful man,
lovely
man.
fella.
No, Oit Tanak for me, people might say, well, he's leaving. Why would he? Why would he go for it here? Because he will want to show Hyundai exactly what they will be missing, and I think he will be fired up for it.
There is that, but also he spent 2 years at Toyota. And undoubtedly there are some Oit Tanak fans in Japan here.
Well, you know, and we don't know what he's doing next year.
No.
You know, if he wins this one and he beats the Toyotas in their backyard.
There is one thing I would say is that Esa-Pekka Lappi's move to Hyundai has opened up what looked like a fairly stale driver market, where there wasn't really a lot going on. We expected Mickelson, blah, 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 and that was it done. And now suddenly, whoa, hang on a second. So there's a Toyota seat going, there's a Hyundai seat potentially going.
Maybe 2 seats, yeah.
I can't remember what we're allowed to talk about and what we're not allowed to talk about. But suddenly there are seats everywhere.
Everywhere there are seats. By the way, who broke the story about Esa-Pekka Lappi? One of the finest pieces of journalism we've seen in the last day or two. It was a great story, David.
It was a great story. Well, no, it was a great story that I happened to write. I think that's fair to say. You know, the story, and this is what gets me going about journalism, is that day, that story grew and grew, and it
You were dead excited. He called me at about 8 o'clock at night, just to get my final approval, obviously, before he wrote it, and he was dead excited.
But it is this kind of piecing together bits of information. What will you tell me? And I must have sent probably 100 WhatsApp messages, and you just get bits back. You get a little bit from him, you get nothing from him. Oh, that means something. And eventually you get
like the GR Yaris going up for sale.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
You piece of old fella. Well done, David. So, folks, a great Rally Japan to look forward to. Would you believe 16 hours, roughly 16 hours from now, World Rally cars, 90 right, blasting into this tunnel, will be hitting top speed. Oh, maybe a third of the way down, maybe not as far as that.
But as they actually go into the tunnel, they'll probably be in fourth gear at over 100 miles an hour.
Unbelievable. Man. So much to look forward to this weekend on the return to Japan for the WRC. Don't forget, folks, it's above David's head, above his increasing forehead.
All right.
Press the link on David's baldy patch, and I'll take you through to our wonderful partners, Gino WRC Invest. Lots to look forward to, folks, this weekend for more of the finest journalism in the WRC, the greatest videos, some of the most inspired tickle-tockles, as I call them. We've gone viral again on TikTok, by the way.
Have we?
How many views have we had? 9 million views on our last Tickle Tockle.
And there's an even better one coming.
Oh,
stay
there
tuned.
Really is. Where did you stay tuned to?
Dirtfish.com.
He's good.